Welcome back to the All Things Everything podcast presented by Gulf Coast Smoke. My name is Alonzo.
And I'm Sabrina.
And this is episode 6. And I think it's an exciting one. Something pretty cool happened this weekend.
Yeah.
Tell everybody what happened.
Well, we went to, where did we go?
Needville, Texas.
Keep forgetting. Needville, Texas for a CBA competition.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's interesting. We did not film it. Normally we would.
Mm-hmm.
But I forgot the mic, what is it? Not the receiver, but the other end that you use. And we kind of were like, well, that kind of ruins our plans. So we kind of thought, we'll do some shorts. And, the weather, it wasn't like raining bad, but at some parts it was raining. Everything seemed like it was against us filming, which was in a way a good thing. We got to really spend a lot more time and attention on the cook itself. And it paid off because we got our first GC. Yeah. Unfortunately, we didn't get to film it, but I think it all worked out the way it was supposed to.
Yeah, I mean, it was an unreal feeling. Getting that first grand championship was amazing. We ended up 9th place chicken. What? 4th place ribs, 2nd place pork, and 2nd place brisket. Strong cook from us for sure. I think the craziest part is we did feel like there were some things that we kind of missed out on the cook. But overall, I mean, I was confident in the flavor that we had on everything.
Yeah, for sure.
And so obviously we're grateful. We got that grand champion out of the way. For me, it was kind of like a relief because I feel like not necessarily a lot of people or maybe nobody, but for me, it kind of felt like sometimes it was like people were waiting for it to happen. And I was getting questioned a lot like, man, come on, man, you got it. One's coming. I'm like, well, hopefully.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's a great feeling. I'm proud of the way that we handled the situation, especially like with the mics. I know for a fact I would have 3 months ago, 6 months ago, been really upset about that because it's not even to just get mad, but, we take this seriously. Like, we're not sitting here podcasting for nothing. We're not shooting YouTube videos for nothing. We have dreams. We have aspirations. But, I put it out there publicly, and I'll just say it again. I've been reading my Bible a lot lately. Maybe not a lot, but I've been reading my Bible lately, and I've been trying to, Google scriptures that will help for certain parts of things that I'm feeling in my life for perspective. And I've been reading a lot of stuff on patience and timing and stuff like that. So I really was okay. I don't know why. I don't know if it surprised you, but I was just laying there on the, maybe it was because I was 90% tired, but I was laying there on the blow-up mattress and I was like, hey, look, it's okay. We're here. We drove here. Let's wake up in the morning. Let's do our thing. And let's hope for the best results possible. It's okay. And in a way, I feel like everything happens for a reason. Maybe we were supposed to enjoy that GC just us.
Yeah, it felt like almost a relief because we were, rushing just to get ready for this competition because
it was tough.
We had just, done one the past weekend, been out of town the past however many weekends competing. So it did kind of feel like a relief to not have to worry about that.
Yeah.
And sometimes in those moments when things seem to be against you, it's like it all happens for a reason. And you see all these little signs later on and you're like, man, everything kind of seemed to go against us being able to film. But shout out to Bill because he asked at awards, are y'all filming this? And it, in my mind, I was like, oh, well, I can at least film this on my phone. So that end part I was filming, and luckily Dustin Stanley, and said, hey, you want me to follow him up there? So we got a really cool clip of that GC.
Yeah, if you guys are following us on Facebook, Gulf Coast Smoke, go watch that video. It really does embody the camaraderie that is out there when it comes to this barbecue game that we're playing. And, I can honestly say that it was wild to me how many people were genuinely excited that we won.
Yep.
And, like I said, and I've told people this a million times, a lot of people see me. They see my face. They might see me at the cookers or whatever. But it was really cool because there was actually some people that flat out were like, hey, congrats to her too. She worked her butt up out there too. And people see it. People are starting to take notice. We're a team. Yes, again, you see me a lot of the times. we're a 100% a team. I couldn't do it without you. That my patience was definitely being tested at the contest because we slept in the trailer together, all of us. Like, it was wild. So we woke up early, you and I. We had to keep the kids in the trailer, let them sleep. We were trying to prep outside, which we have not done in a while. So we felt really out of our elements. I was trying to wrap ribs and stuff, and I'm like, where's my stuff? Like, I need my stuff. And I was like, I was a little bit freaking out, but I was able to calm down pretty quickly and just focus on cooking and what we were doing and realizing that, hey, look, man, we're out here cooking barbecue. Like, how bad can things be? It's just, we're having fun. Let's continue to have fun. Thankfully, we got the GC. Hopefully, next time we try and film a comp, we're not having issues with our equipment. I will say, though, it's kind of like a testament to where maybe we do need to change the way we film the comps, because sometimes we will delay doing something just to get the perfect shot. It's almost like maybe we should just like, hey, set up the camera, click it on when you can. We got to do what we got to do.
I think we're typically...
Yeah, we're pretty good.
I'm typically pretty good at, just putting it there. But I think there were things we wanted to do this competition that we got to do because we weren't worrying about anything else.
Yeah. No, I agree. And we won't go into too much detail on that because those are some things that you and I tried this week, and thankfully they worked out. We made some last-minute decisions really, really quickly on our pork and our brisket finish, and I think it helped. I really, really, really think it helped. So, I mean, congrats to you, too. I mean, you shared that with me. Obviously, I walked up on the stage alone, but it's only because we had our son sleeping in your lap.
Yeah. And our girls didn't even realize. And it's funny because Penelope, every single competition, when she's listening to, what we've won or not, she's like, did we win? Did we win everything?
Yeah.
What did we get? And all these people just rushed towards you. So the girls were kind of just like, what's going on?
Yeah.
They had no idea we had even won. And when I told them, just the shock on their faces.
Yeah, I mean, again, I can't wait until they're old enough to where they can realize mom and dad, they're willing to do whatever it takes to make life good, as good as we can, at least. And man, life, but life is good. Sleeping in the trailer together was a little uncomfortable, a little dirty,
I was comfortable,
but
surprisingly.
It was just, you know what I'm saying? It's more like
hard.
I don't necessarily literally mean uncomfortable. I mean just like figuratively, everything was just, we were out of our element. We were roughing it. We were roughnecking it. But hey, it was a great day. But man, we have a great guest today, and we're grateful that Kevin Hernandez with My Pits Are Burnin is coming on. So we're shortly going to cut to that interview. It's a great one. It's a long one. He gives some great information. So we're grateful that you guys are putting it out there, that you guys want us to have guests, giving us great ideas, great questions. Please, please, please keep them coming. Bill Purvis last week was an amazing guest, and we're grateful he was on, and we're really excited to cut to this interview with Kevin.
Yep.
So without further ado, let's just get right into that interview. Well, first off, we want to introduce Kevin Hernandez. Man, thank you so much for being on the podcast today, man. How have you been doing? What's going on in the world of My Pits Are Burnin'?
What's up, man? Everything's going pretty good right now. We're doing all right. We are doing all right.
Yeah, you're doing all right, man. This guy's an extremely humble guy. I was actually texting you yesterday, and I kept telling you, I was like, dude, stop already, man. But I love how humble you are. That's one of the most amazing things about it. So I obviously did say your team name, and I know that I should have really let you say that, but for those of the people out there who don't know who we are, man, who are you? What's your team name, and how long have you guys been competing?
My name's Kevin Hernandez. We're out of Floresville, Texas, right? It's about 25 miles out south of San Antonio. We've been competing probably about a year and a half.
Yeah, that's crazy to me.
Yeah, we've got probably, I think, total 38 cooks under our belt. It's a lot, but that's kind of like it's like a regular season for somebody that does it every year.
Yeah, I mean, that's no doubt. But, in a year and a half, I mean, if you think about it, there's obviously 52 weeks in a year. So, I mean, for a year and a half, 38, that actually is a lot of cook-offs when you sit down and think about it like that. So, you're at this point, what? You're pretty much competing every single weekend, right?
Yeah, we've been competing every weekend since March, actually, this year. So we did the season started December 1st. So we did two cook-offs, which is the main two biggest cook-offs of the year, which is the chupacabra and the briscoe. So we did those two cook-offs, and we were still learning at the time. And then we took a class. We took Phil Breeden's class in January, first weekend of January or something like that. And then we rolled right after that class, like straight into the next weekend of cook off, which was the Champions Barbecue Alliance year end cook off for the season before. And we cooked that one, and we GC. That was our first GC right there.
Man, that's crazy. I mean, what a big one to GC,
Yeah,
huh?
yeah, it was like 120 teams.
Yeah, I mean that's just a really incredible story. Like just the way you came up like that. I mean, it's so wild to me because I mean, like I said, I know you're a really humble guy, but man, I think that's great. I think we all should be humble, but man, that's a crazy first win, bro. That to me is such a crazy first win.
Yeah, yeah. If it's like a nobody, there's hardly, that would be one to GC on your first one. That would be one to have
Yeah, no
when
doubt.
when everybody's there. All the who's who of barbecue in Texas was there. So
Yeah.
it was a surprise to me. We didn't think, like, I was already packing up my chair when they called reserve. Because we had a 12th place chicken and a 13th place pork walk. That's it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, man, I
And
mean, you had no idea, huh?
no, no, like I didn't even think we made the top 10.
That's crazy. But that's the cool thing, and maybe the bad. Well, not the bad thing, but that to me is the cool thing about CBA. I've been to a couple of contests, even a couple with you there, and man, you think you know who's gonna win, and then it just switches, bro,
Yeah,
like that. So, my very first CBA ever was in Wharton this year, and you were there, and you GC'd it. I saw you GC, and had no. I mean, we hadn't talked or anything at that point, but from my point of view, I thought that Dustin Stanley was going to win, right? Because he
oh yeah,
had he
no, I
had
thought so too.
a first place chicken and a first place brisket, right?
Yeah,
So he had a first place chicken and a first place brisket, but I also believe you had three walks, right?
I had three walks. Yeah,
Yeah, so that's crazy to me that from the outside looking in, I'm thinking like, oh well, Dustin or Twisted Flames at the time. I didn't know him as Dustin. I was like, well, he won, and then of course he gets called out for third. Phil Breeden gets called out for RGC, and you end up
Yeah.
getting called out for GC, and we're like,
yeah,
at my
yeah.
first CBA ever, I'm like, what just happened? Now,
Yeah,
granted, I knew obviously that I knew about you as a cook already, and I knew that you were a good cook, but it just blew my mind how it all unfolded, and it's just really cool to see because it is a surprise.
it is, and it makes it so interesting because you're like, who's got this? Nobody knows. It's so close.
Yeah,
And then when they call out, when you think you got the guy that's gonna win, and then they call him out on third, you're like, whoa! It just throws you all off after that.
yeah. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, because at that event, if I'm not mistaken, Phil had one call or at the most two. I know he started
I
off
think he
with a.
had two. Points.
Okay, I remember for a fact for sure he got a 10th place chicken because I
Yeah,
remember them talking about he had multiple 10th place chickens like prior to that. So,
and
um,
then I think he placed in brisket,
yeah, but man,
something like that.
that was a really cool way to start off my CBA career. But we're not here to talk about me. So, man, I mean, right now, one of the things that we wanted to talk about was we talk about CBA. You got your first GC. Since then, you've gotten 8 more. You've gotten multiple RGCs, and right now you're number one in points overall. You're number one in points in chicken, number one in point in pork ribs, and you just took number one back on pork. I've been watching.
Yeah,
And you're number two in brisket. I mean, when you think of the word dominance, that's definitely what you're doing right now in CBA. I mean, what has allowed you to be so consistent with every cook? Because again, I've competed against you a couple times now, and it seems like you're always there in the mix.
Man, we just don't change nothing. We run the same thing over and over and over again. It's the same thing. So you get kind of in a routine, and you get used to what you're doing, and you get the feel for what you know for what you've been doing, and it just when it's done because you've been doing it over and over the same way. So we don't change our whole recipes. We don't do nothing like that. We stick with what we got. We do change up minor adjustments. We'll make minor adjustments. We'll do a little bit of extra sauce or a little bit extra salt or something like that, or a little extra heat or a little extra sweet. Those just minor adjustments.
And
Nothing too big.
how many teams are there like in the CBA running for points?
Well, I mean,
Does anybody know?
Well, registered on their membership, I think there's like 300 and something teams.
Yeah, so out of
They
those
don't all cook.
300, you're
They don't all
number
cook,
one.
but I am, yeah.
That's
A lot of
impressive.
them don't cook on a weekly basis, but pretty much the top, I would say maybe top 75
Mm-hmm.
are cooking every week,
Right.
pretty much, or they're doing at least two times a month.
Yeah. And so out of those teams, you're not only number one overall, but you're number one in 3 of those categories and second in the 4th. So that's
Yes.
very impressive.
We've been getting pretty lucky, but
This g-
it's also, dude, it's also tough, man, because those guys they're right at knocking on the door every weekend.
Yeah.
yeah,
Last weekend I had Bill 11 points away from me on chicken,
Mm.
and I got a first place this week, which kind of gave me a little breathing room from him.
Yeah.
I got right now, I think I got, I don't know who's second in ribs.
I think it's
It was either Phil or I think it might have changed.
yeah, I believe it
I
was,
don't
man, and
think-
I knew who it was. I saw it.
They're
JC's good
like-
old boys.
Was it Jay? No, it's not JC. I think it's Bill.
I thought it was JC's good old boys, bro.
You know what? I can check.
Yeah,
I'll
you
check
go ahead.
right
Go ahead.
I thought I had a little breathing room in ribs, but I don't. Oh, it's smoking and toasting.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, he just showed up out of nowhere.
Yeah, he's from down south, right?
Yeah, he's from the valley.
Yeah, Los
he's a-
Fresnos, I
he's-
think.
Yeah, and he's been coming on. He's been doing really good lately.
Yeah, yeah. No, he's a good
So,
cook.
right now he's a really good cook. He'll travel up to anywhere and cook anywhere, man. He's a cool dude, real
Yeah.
cool dude. But yeah, he just came out of the blue and he's right behind me now. So
So
now I got to try and focus.
So is JC's good old boys second in pork then maybe? Because I was just
Second and fourth.
okay. All right, so that's where I got it mixed up because I knew that you just passed because
I think he passed me in Crosby
yes, yep,
or somewhere out there, and he passed me because I wasn't cooking that weekend.
yeah,
And he did. He got a first place pork.
yeah.
I was like, dang it.
Yeah.
So we had a little bit of breathing room there till this past weekend. So
Now
I don't know if he's cooking again this weekend or not, but
Now
We'll
this
see.
is a question that I personally really don't know the answer to, so it's not a trick question. But is there any way that you pass Phil for brisket?
dude, that dude is killing it right now. Brisket,
Yeah,
like
he really is.
I don't know what he's doing to that brisket, man, but it's like 5 in a row already in first place, and I don't think anybody's gonna catch him.
Yeah. No, I mean in respect to him, right? He cooks a good brisket, obviously. No
Dude,
no knock to him. He's just a great brisket cook.
Yeah.
yeah, he's just a all around great cook, man.
Oh
He's-
yeah, for sure.
he's a real hard guy to beat, man. He's just you can never underestimate him if he's there.
Yeah.
Even
for
though
sure.
if he gets 1 walk or 2 walks, it don't matter how many walks he gets.
Yeah.
He's always he's gonna be in the mix no matter what.
Yeah. No doubt.
So,
Right. He's probably
if
always
he
getting called
shows up-
overall a lot of the
oh
times.
yeah, he's in the top 5 no matter what, whether it's 1 call or 3 calls.
Mhm.
He's in the top 5.
Yep.
So he's a really tough cook, man. when he's there, you got to be on your game.
For sure.
He's just not real easy to beat.
Yeah, I actually, and I know that everybody feels the same way when we're out there and we're competing. I'm really new to this. I've said that a few times, but I will say this one thing. I know that, like, man, everybody wants to win, right? Obviously, you want
Yeah.
to go out there, you want to beat me. I want to beat you. I want to beat Phil. Phil wants to beat me. I really did want my first GC to have you, Phil, Bill, and like all the top guys there. I would have liked that to have been my first GC. I mean, I'll take it. I'll take what we got. But man, like in my dream scenario, all of you guys in the top 10 would have been there, and I would have been able to get it. Get lucky that day. But maybe one of these days I'll get it.
Oh man, I'm sure you will. You will. You just keep at it, man. It's kind of like a batting average.
Yeah.
The more you cook, you're gonna get there. You do one, then they just start falling in little by little because you already kind of know, hey, like this is what I need to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This is where I need to be. Now I know what it's gonna take to get to that level. So and they'll just start. You'll get in a rhythm, and you'll start going. You'll start picking up more and more.
Yeah.
So it just like I said, it's like a batting average. You're not gonna win all of them, but if you keep on swinging, you're gonna hit a home run every so often.
Yep.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so we recently got our first GC this past weekend, and I know you GC'd this past weekend as well, which is the most recent of many. But how would you compare that feeling from your first ever GC to your most recent one? Is there any difference in the way you feel from that first time to now?
Um, the adrenaline rush, man, is gonna be there every time. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, your first ones you get the most adrenaline rush because it's your first one, and that's what you've been trying to get at the whole time.
Right.
And it's like you'll chase that same adrenaline rush every time after that,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the chase. Is that same feeling you got when you first got your first GC, and everybody came and everybody's lining up next to you because all those guys already they've been doing it for so long, they kind of know who's gonna win already
Right.
or
Right.
who's and they'll start walking their way over there to you, and they're there to congratulate you as you walk up to go get your award, man. And it's just like a feeling no other. It's awesome.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. No, that
And
actually that happened to us this weekend, man. Like everybody after they called Mo for RGC, everybody knew we were gonna win. And like, dude, everybody just flocked toward us and they were like
yeah,
hitting my chest, like, how do you like that, baby? Like it was just a really cool experience, man.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And then if they know that's your first one, man, it's gonna be the best, because they're so happy for you at the same time,
For
Yeah.
sure.
because it's your first one.
Yeah.
After the first one, they're still happy for you. Everybody's still happy for you, but now they're like, now you're becoming a threat,
Right.
So
Yeah. Yeah, man. I in Victoria I had somebody tell me, "Hey man, you're cooking good, but just so you know, like people are starting to see you as a threat, bro. So like all this nice stuff, man, it's going to stop soon," which they're obviously kidding, right? Because everybody, I mean, I think everyone out there is a threat, man. You just never know. You just never know on any day who's going
nah,
to do what.
these days you don't know who's done what. There's so many classes, there's so much stuff on the internet.
Yeah.
You can find out any kind of information now. Like on the internet, they're not going to show you exact steps of what they do like they would in a class, but uh, it's still a lot of good information to get you the basics,
For sure.
get you going,
Yeah,
and you kind of pick up tips and hanging out with everybody. And a lot of guys, the more you hang out with them, the more they let stuff out. You
yeah.
just
Mm-hmm.
got to kind of listen.
Yeah.
They'll get more comfortable with you, and you'll start finding yourself into a little pack, your little group, and just everybody starts sharing everything with you because they want you to be successful, just like everybody else.
Yeah.
Right.
It's it wouldn't be easy if it was easy. Everybody be doing it.
Oh, for
Mm-hmm.
sure.
You know, so the harder it gets, the better it is because it's more of a challenge.
For sure. That's a great way to look at it. I like that. I really like that. That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, you you can't test yourself if you're if nobody else is if you're just beating everybody and nobody's gaining anything. They're not doing nothing to beat you. Where's the fun in that? You
No,
got to
for sure.
lose to make the win feel good.
No
Yeah.
You
doubt.
know, so you got to know how to lose so you can. When you do win, you're like, oh man,
Yeah. And
I still got it.
Yeah.
And you know what's crazy? We won't talk about it too much because, we don't have to go into the details. But I will say that I truly feel like this past weekend, we won because, like, especially me as a person, like, I've been a lot better at, like, just accepting things that are happening at the cook-off rather than getting so upset about it and I can't control. You know what I mean? Like, man, so, unfortunately, we forgot our mics at home. We weren't able to film the contest, dude, which we normally film all our
Oh
content.
man,
I know.
yeah.
So, we had found out Friday night, and Sabrina and I kind of looked at each other, and we both, like, I know I felt super defeated. I was like, dude, there's no way. Because, we like to film YouTube videos where that's what we do. And I felt really defeated, and I was like, dude, there's no way. There's no way that we forgot our mics. I mean, we're 3 hours away from the house. We can't go back and get them. So we got zero footage of our first GC ever. But instead, we kind of calmed down for a second. And I told her, I said, hey, look, we're all the way over here. Let's wake up in the morning. Let's do what we do and hope for the best results. Whereas maybe 3 months ago, man, I would have been pretty pissed off and probably let it ruin my cook the next day just because, we try so hard. We travel so far. We spend all this money. It's really, really easy to see and pick up on the negative things rather than the positive things. And it's unfortunate, but for me, that was true. But, man, for whatever reason, the past few cook-offs that I've done, I've felt really calm. I felt like, hey, man, we're cooking barbecue. Just enjoy it. Have fun. Try and put the best product out there you can and stop worrying about all the little stuff that you can't control that's getting you mad for no reason.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, it a lot of it's got to do with the people.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you start hanging around with everybody that's in barbecue, and you pick up on how humble they are. I wasn't like this before.
Yeah,
I would have been getting pissed off if I would have lost, and I would have been all pissed off. I probably would have sold my trailer and everything already.
yeah,
But I learned a lot in barbecue, not just barbecue itself or competition barbecue. I learned a lot of attitude adjustment, a lot of humbleness. It'll make you humble
for sure.
right away because you can be on top one week and you'll be at the bottom next.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can't handle that, then this is going to be a really tough sport for you to be in because you can't win them all, even though you want to. You're not, and it's hard. It's hard to win them all. And when you do lose, it sucks. After you've won a couple, you're like, oh man. And I think a lot of it is because you don't want to do bad anymore. They see people, you start coming up, and then all of a sudden you drop back down, and you're like, oh, you don't want to go back down to where you were at. You just want to keep on moving up, but it's going to happen eventually. You're not going to win them all. You're not going to walk every time. There's going to be times you sit in your seat the whole time, and dude, it's going to suck.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. You learn to live with it and move on and go on to the next cook. Am I going to change anything? No, I'm going to run the same thing over again and, go and try and win the next one.
Yeah.
Oh, that was I think a big lesson for us is our ribs were hitting very well earlier in the year, and then we went to like a couple where they just flopped, right? And so we think like, man, what's wrong with our ribs? But I mean, you go a couple more contests and they start to do well again. So you just have to learn to not feel so defeated and keep trying your recipes. Don't just stop.
Yeah, it's kind of a mental game because it'll mess with you. You're thinking, oh man, it's not hitting. It was hitting over here, but it didn't hit here. Do I got to change it?
Yeah.
And then that's when you start really messing up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's when you start changing your whole profile.
Yeah, so I think there was maybe like 3 or 4 comps where I completely changed my ribs, and I was flustered, dude. I'm like, man, how do I go? So I think over the span of like 5 events, our worst placing in ribs was 3rd place, and we had 2 back-to-back first places. We had a first place in Victoria, then in Wharton, and you're kind of like on cloud nine. You're like, oh, dude, my ribs are on
Yeah.
point, bro. Like, you almost feel like nobody can cook better ribs than you, but
Yeah.
and it's one of those things. I'm okay with talking about it because now I understand that's just not the way to think. Because like I got people
No.
like you out there that are cooking great ribs. I mean, Phil, you got Bill, you got smoking and toasting. You got people, Rini Gonzalez. Just dude, there's so many people, man.
Quattro D,
Yeah,
D&D, all
every
those guys, dude,
dude,
they're
and that
all heavy hitters.
and it's just you can think of those names like this. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
not even including the people that you got to think 5 seconds about them. Oh shoot, yeah, him too. Oh crap, him too. It's like there's so many people that cook so good, and it's just
Yeah, and it's a widespread. It's like all over Texas. Like you got West Texas, you got Texas oil dust, and you got what's the other guy's name? Oh man, why am I not picking him up? It's there's a lot of West Texas guys. Like there's good guys in West Texas, and there's good guys in Central Texas, and then there's good guys in East Texas. There's just teams all over. No
yeah,
matter where you go, they're gonna have good teams,
Yeah.
and they'll go wherever. Those same teams will go everywhere.
yeah,
Yep.
We got Chingon Barbecue up north in the Panhandle. Um, you got Rolling Smoke out of West Texas, way out there in Fort Davis.
yeah.
Uh, there's an here in Central Texas, you got DD, you got Reggie Q, you got uh, Quattro D,
Quattro D,
you got
yeah,
you got there's right here in Austin, there's Pit Father, you got Two Live Q. There's tons of guys all over.
yeah,
And then you go down the valley and there's another 40, 50 guys down there.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
man. It's
it's no matter where you go, it's gonna be tough.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it takes a lot to realize that hey, like you're just simply not, like you said, you're not going to win them all. It is
No.
impossible, and you just have to remain true to who you are and what you do, and hope that it's going to be good enough every week. I mean, that's just the way I look at it.
Yeah, you gotta just go out and hopefully you don't offend more than one judge on your table.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we've done that unfortunately plenty of times, brother.
Yeah, if you get a little wiggle room of one judge. If you go over one judge, you're pretty much done.
Yeah, for
Well, I
sure.
think even when you GC, like we GC'd and then we're happy and we go and read the comments and we're like, oh man.
So this past week we missed first place brisket by 0.4 points, which would have been 1,000
Oh
place
man,
first brisket, and we had a score of 7 on our brisket appearance, and in the comments it said solid color. We're like, what? How does that even correlate?
Like when I think solid color, I think, oh, solid, right?
Yeah, like,
but then
yeah,
we
like,
thought,
Yeah.
maybe they thought like it was all one color. Like we don't know. It was.
It just didn't make sense. I was like, we lost by 0.4 points, and we had a 7 on brisket appearance, and they said solid color. The same exact judge. Like we looked at it 50 times to make sure we weren't off, and we're like, heck, what the heck? How did that happen? But you know what? I told my wife, you take the good with the bad. Obviously, we were
yeah.
able
I
to walk
mean,
away with first, and you can't really complain too much about that.
no, I mean, in the end, that's the first place you want.
For
The
sure.
last one,
For sure.
a first place brisket or a first place chicken or pork or ribs. I mean, those are bonus points. Those are all bonuses.
For sure.
The one you want is the last one.
No
That's
doubt.
the one you're chasing.
No
So
doubt.
I'll take a third. I'll take a couple third places and fifth places if it gets me that first place at the end.
No, for
Mhm.
sure. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm not really worried about the. I mean, if I do get it, I get it. It's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Well,
the overall is the one I want.
oh, for sure. No doubt. No doubt. Well, man, the last question I want to ask before we go into the fans' questions, I ask every single guest, or I'm going to ask every single guest that we have, and that is, what is the most important tool that you need for every single cook-off that you go to?
I got two of them.
Okay.
I have to have two. When one of them's out, man, it's a tough day.
Yeah.
Uh, I gotta have my wife, and
Yeah.
then I gotta have my thermopin.
Yeah, dude. So Bill said Thermopin too. I'm with you on the wife
Or
thing,
the-
though, man.
Yeah, the wife, man, my wife, she does so much behind the scenes that you don't see, that hardly anybody see.
Yep.
She stays in the trailer. Saturday, she gets up and she's in the trailer. She doesn't come out until after brisket turn in.
Yeah.
She stays in there. She's taking care of the cambro. She's taking care of the sauces. She's taking care of she gets my wraps all warmed up while I'm, moving meats around and stuff like that, panning meats and stuff like that. And, she's getting, she's just prepping stuff as the time goes by, so that way when we start finishing, she's got the sauces already heated up. She's got the azu, heated up. She's got wraps heated up, so
Mm-hmm.
when she's not there, I have to do all those things
Yeah.
and turn in and cook all at the same time, so it makes it a little harder. I mean, it's more of a challenge, but still, I mean, you get used to your wife. I do. I'm used to my wife handling that stuff, that way I can take care of my temps and time and all that stuff on my meat.
Yep.
So she's a big part of our team.
Yeah, no, man, it's the same way for Sabrina. Like, I always try in my best to tell people, like, hey, I know you see me. You might see my face, like, on YouTube and all that stuff, but, man, Sabrina does a lot for us. Pretty much all the same stuff that your wife does. And, obviously, I haven't been to a comp without her, and I don't think I want to, so she's going to have to get her butt in the truck and go with me every time, brother.
Dude, I do the same thing. But lately my daughter is in softball and basketball, so now she's got to kind of,
yeah,
she may not get as many comps as through the end of the season here, which right now it's like crunch time.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a little tough. So
yeah,
hopefully we can still hang in there.
Well, I'm sure you're going to do fine, man. So let's go ahead and move on. We did post on Facebook that we were going to have you on the podcast, and there was some people that had some questions. So go ahead and start them off, Sabrina.
So our first question is at Villanueva Media. He asked, what was your hardest challenge when you first started out doing competition barbecue or barbecue in general?
Probably my finances were my hardest challenge, because it's not cheap doing this hobby. It's tough. It takes a lot of money. It takes and then when you're first starting out, you don't have sponsors, you don't got nothing,
Yeah.
So meats, entry fees, gas, food, all that stuff, you can get pretty expensive. So that was probably my hardest challenge when we first started out. We probably didn't do as many cooks at first because of that.
Mm-hmm.
Then once we did the first one, we're like, no, this is something we want to do all the time. So we went back and we adjusted our lifestyle, and we were trying to do two hobbies. Once we figured out we wanted to do barbecue, we were big river rats, and we loved to go to the river and camping and stuff like that. So we had a lot of toys for that. And so we got rid of all that stuff to do barbecue. So we figured barbecue, we're still camping. We're in a different city, town every weekend. We're in the RV. It's everybody's with us. We're barbecuing. So it's like best of both worlds.
Yeah.
So we adjusted our finances and stuff like that to do this on a little more often.
Yeah. No,
that was probably the hardest part.
And I truly appreciate that honesty, man, because I feel the same way. It's not something that I really talk about openly, but man, it's not cheap at all. And you know that because you want to go to the competition with high quality meats. Obviously we're all saucing, injecting, brining. You need food for the competition. You need charcoal. You need all sorts of stuff. And then you have to pay your entry fee, and you have to hope that you're doing good enough to make at least that money back so you can go to the next one. It's just not something that people talk about.
I mean, at least half of it where you can cover some of the meats or some of the entry fee, or you still, and it's not just, everybody thinks it's just seasonings and sauces. It's paper towels, it's foil pans, it's there's those little mesh grills, it's all kinds of little bitty things that you have to do all this stuff. Supplies, basically, soap, Clorox, all that stuff. You gotta have, and you're using it every week, so it's like a month. It's a weekly expense.
Yeah. Oh, and we go with 3 kids, so it's like you have to go grocery shopping like you're preparing for the end of the world, because you don't know what they're. Yeah. And then competition comes and they don't even eat because they just want the meat. So you buy all this stuff just to prepare for them. And
Yeah.
shoot, it gets
You know,
expensive.
so it's a whole different thing. And then on top of that, you got your regular life.
Yeah.
You know, you're trying to do. You know, so it's it's not real easy. You know, so I would say that was probably the hardest part. Not really hard, but we had to make adjustments to do this. You know what I mean? We didn't have to, so that way we could do this on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, that's cool, man. Like I said, I appreciate that honesty because it allows me to talk about it too. And you're absolutely right, bro. It's not easy, but we love it, so we continue to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you know, I mean, if you want to do something, you're gonna make it happen.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, that's what you're gonna do because
Yep.
that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
You know, so
I always tell my wife, I'm
that's
like, man, it seems like something good happens every time we really need it. You know what I mean? Like, like
nice. You'll see that a lot in barbecue.
yeah,
It's like this is the path for you because everything falls into place,
for sure, for sure.
and that's kind of like what happened to us. You know, we took the plunge and we did it, and then all of a sudden everything just started falling in place for us to go this route, and we followed it since we've been on it. You know, we're like, you know what? Even on cook-offs, like I plan to go to this cook-off, but in the middle of the week, I'll get a random text or a random call from somebody. Hey, man, this cook-off, or you got, or from this cook-off to this cook-off, you won here, and this we didn't tell you, or we forgot. You have a free entry over here. I'm like, well, I take it as a sign. Well, maybe I'm supposed to go that way.
Yeah,
So I go. We follow that. You
yeah,
know.
yeah. No, it's like even this past weekend we forgot our mics and stuff. I told my wife, I said, man, maybe we were just supposed to celebrate that GC by ourselves. You know, maybe it was
Yeah.
supposed to be just us. Maybe we weren't supposed to share it with YouTube. I don't know, but you try and look at the positives and things for sure.
Yeah. I mean, it all happens for a reason. So
No doubt.
I try not to make more than what it is. It's just something that you don't need to waste your frustrations on. You
No
know,
doubt.
just it's a little thing. Just move on, and hey, we had a good time either way. You know,
Yeah.
we all got y'all's first GC, which is freaking awesome.
Yeah.
You know, how's that feeling?
Oh
How
man.
was it? It was awesome, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean it was crazy because um like I said, I thought it came down to us, Dustin, Mo, and Bill. And Dustin got fourth, so we're like, okay, there's one. And then Bill got third. And I think at that point I knew that we won, but you're still not 100% sure because Bill got 4 calls and we got 4 calls. And I was like, oh, okay, I think we got this. But you obviously don't want to let yourself get too hyped because then if it doesn't
Yeah.
happen, then it's going to be bad. So I was like, okay, no, we're not there yet. But then, like I could tell everybody like in the room was like looking at me and looking at Mo. They were like, oh,
Yeah.
it's one of these two. And then, man, when they heard Mo's song, everybody just got up and like started running at us like, let's go, baby. And it was just a cool feeling, dude. Like I was when we heard Mo's song, Dustin took a video of me and I was just standing there like shaking my head like, dude, what the hell just like, because I hate to say it like this, but man, you start to like kind of lose a little bit of confidence. At least for me, I kind of started losing a little bit of confidence because, man, I think we're good cooks. I think we are pretty good. And then it's like, man, but we haven't done anything. We haven't GC'd. We've got one RGC only, and I really want to take that leap. But man, it in a way for me, it almost feels like a weight lifted off my shoulder because I do feel like just because of like YouTube and stuff, people kind of had their eyes on our channel and like what we were doing and if we were ever going to get it and stuff like that. And I don't know if you agree, but it felt like a weight lifted off my shoulders. Honestly, it's like, oh my gosh, finally, like we finally did it because, I have people messaging me all the time like, man, it's coming. I know it's coming. And I'm like, yeah, are you sure? Are you sure, man? Because it ain't come yet. I'm trying my hardest. But like I said, these past couple of events, man, I've done a good job of just like relaxing through the cook and hey man, it's okay if my drum starts running at 350 for a second, just choke it back a little bit. Like
Yeah.
it's not the end of the world. Just stop freaking out over the small stuff. But yeah, man, it felt great. It really did. So yeah, thanks for asking. But Man, let's keep focusing on you. This is about you, man. We want to showcase you and how good of a cook you are. So I do want to ask the next question, and it comes from Chance Vernon. And he says, do regions or locations matter in terms of what flavor profiles competitors can expect judges to like? If so, to what extent? Is it a big deal, or do you only notice minor differences?
It's minor differences. I mean, I'm gonna run my same profile no matter where I go.
Yeah.
I'm gonna run my same flavor profile. I'm not gonna change it. I will make minor adjustments.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, once we turn in chicken, we'll get a view of what kind of judges are in there.
Yeah.
If it's if it's older people, older gentlemen or females, just kind of, or if it's middle age, or if it's younger folks, that'll give us a kind of a gauge. So when we turn in chicken, I'm looking see what kind of judges, how old, what ages of judges are in there.
Mm-hmm.
That's gonna kind of tell me, all right, well, my chicken's it's pretty balanced out, so I'm not really worried about my chicken. Um, Everything else is my chicken lays out the platform of the other three meats or two meats of what depending on where we're at or what kind of contest it is. But that's when we look. We look at the judges, we look at their age group, and we go from there. And if it's higher age group, we're gonna add a little more salt. If it's mid-range age group, we're gonna be kind of mellow with a little spice, not too much salt, a little more heat, and a little sweet. If it's younger, we're gonna go sweet,
Mm-hmm.
and a little heat, not as much salt. But and that's pretty much how we gauge out the rest of the cook.
Nice.
When we turn in our chicken, I'm looking to see the ages of the judges,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a great
and
tip
then
for people that are just getting into it too, because a lot of people don't think about those things, right? Like, there's been a couple of comps I've been to, and it was people that I knew that were putting it on, and I knew all the people that were judging. I knew they were in my age group, and man, I truly feel like I was able to adjust like pretty quickly to that. And I mean, I RGC'd the event. I barely missed GC, and I think it's because I had that knowledge of like, man, I know these people. They like stuff kind of similar to
yeah,
me.
yeah. That's usually. I mean, we're not going to change our whole profile. We're just going to make adjustments of levels of salt and sweet and heat.
Yeah, you're not gonna put
That's
you're
about
not gonna put gritty salt on top of your thighs, are you?
it. No.
That's an inside joke. I'm not gonna tell nobody about that story. That's an inside joke between me and you. But yeah, man, that's
I'm gonna get you a shirt that says, "You got any salt?"
that's funny, dude. All right, go ahead.
Our next question comes from Joe Carrasco. He said, first of all, congratulations on all of your success. Did you ever think you'd be this successful when you first started your competition career? Also, what's your favorite protein to cook? And in your opinion, what's the most important step for competition? The prep, the cook, or the finishing process?
Oh, that last one's a good question.
Yep.
No, I never thought it'd be this successful. I just if you'd have asked me 8 months ago that we would be here, I would have told you you're crazy. You know, we were, as a matter of fact, me and my barbecue homie Bobby, we were talking about it, and we actually had the conversation. We were looking at the scores, right, and Phil was already 1,000 points ahead of everybody, and we had that conversation of like, bro, look at Phil, he's 1,000 points away from everybody because there's nobody gonna catch him. Nobody's gonna catch him. And then all of a sudden, we find ourselves like within range. We're like, whoa, we might be able to do this.
Mm-hmm.
So we weren't even expecting to do a points chase. We were just cooking. We were rolling with the ride. We did good in January. We got that one GC. After that, we got invited to go cook the San Antonio Rodeo, and we got a chicken call there out of 288 teams. So we went from there, and then we didn't cook nothing until the end of February, and we got a third place overall. And then we went and did Austin Rodeo. So there was 220 something teams there. We get a brisket call, seventh place brisket call, and seventh place overall.
Wow.
we're like, whoa, so, and then all of a sudden our points started jumping up, and we're like, whoa, maybe we should follow do the
Right.
points chase. And
Yeah.
so we just fell into the points chase, and here we are, man. I mean, we've gotten really lucky, I think. And the what was the second part of that question?
What's your favorite protein to cook?
My favorite protein would probably be chicken. We've always,
Yeah,
I think chicken's harder than everything else
I agree.
Yeah,
besides
for sure.
brisket.
I agree.
Brisket's another hard one, but I think
Yeah.
once you get that down, it's you can pretty much replicate it every time.
Mm-hmm.
Chicken, I don't care how you get it down. It's never going to be the same, every time. It's always a little different. It's never this. It's hard to cook dark meat and white meat at the same time and get them at the same temperature,
Yep.
you know, and get them tender. So it makes it more of a challenge, which that's what I like. Chicken's a little more of a challenge. Plus, it's a pain to clean up and to prep and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah, I would say chicken's my favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've had your chicken like 3.5 hours after you turned it in, and it was still delicious. I literally went to the trailer and I told my wife, I was like, dude, his chicken was still good. It was like cold as ice and it was still delicious, man. I mean, but to me that shows that, man, when it's hot, it's probably over the top good, you know? But yeah, no, I knew you. Well, I felt you were gonna say chicken because I know you're real strong in the half chickens, man.
Yeah, that's kind of our favorite, and we hit the ground kind of running with chicken. That was been our real strongest meat throughout the whole time. So
Yeah.
I would say chicken.
And the last question was, in your opinion, what's the most important step for competition? The prep, the cook, or the finishing process?
They're all important, equal of importance, but if you mess up the prep, it's just kind of domino effect from there.
Yeah.
You know, your prep goes wrong, and then your cook goes wrong, and then how you gonna, your finish has got to be different because you got to overcome how you cooked it because of how you prepped it. So
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of a domino effect. If you get your prep right, your cooks, it's gonna come out better,
Yeah.
and then your finish is gonna go. You know, I mean, I would say your tenderness and your finish would be the most important, but I mean, your prep has got to be good, so that can finish off, good.
For sure.
You
Right.
know, so it's kind of a domino effect. If you don't prep well, good, it's gonna just fall apart after that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
If you don't trim your ribs right, they're crooked. They're gonna end up cooking crooked. Then you got to try and straighten them out when you're trying to finish all your stuff up, and
yeah.
it just makes more work.
I think they're all important. I think the
Yeah,
finishing is where you can maybe make most of a difference if the other things didn't go right. Like, I mean, if your taste wasn't really there, you can kind of doctor it up at the end.
yeah,
But yeah, they're all important.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And your finish is gonna make you or break you.
Right.
It's all in the finish basically.
Yeah.
It's and you can put. I think we talked about this when we were hanging out one day. I mean, you can put all the rubs you want on a piece of meat, but if you're saucing, you're not gonna taste that rub.
Mm-hmm.
You might taste a little spice that was in the rub.
Mm-hmm.
Majority of it's gonna be your sauce, and then whatever you finish with. So that's
Yeah.
what you're gonna taste.
Yeah. This past weekend, man, I'm gonna be honest with you. Our pork was actually really bland. Our monies were super bland, dude. And
The
we had a
pulled
quick.
was good.
Yeah, the pulled was delicious, but the monies were super bland. And my wife and I had a conversation. We're like, look, what can we do to fix this like now? And
Yeah,
the au jus tasted really good. So man, we just put those monies in the au jus, threw them back into the smoker, and we're hoping that it would soak up some flavor. And man, after that, we hit it with a finishing dust, and then we hit it with some sauce, and took a bite, and we're like, okay, it's delicious. And we made that change really quickly, and within 10 minutes, truly, we changed the flavor profile on our pork. So I think
yeah,
that it is a skill. It's a skill we haven't learned fully yet, but man, if you can learn that skill, you really can make a difference right there in the end. Even if your proteins aren't exactly the way you want, You can't change your tenderness, unfortunately, but you can at least change that flavor to maybe
Yeah.
they'll bite it and they'll taste like, okay, it might be a little tight, but man, it tastes delicious. 10 on taste, and then you're maybe still in the hunt.
Yo, yeah. Like I said, the finish is gonna make you or break you, man. That's where you're gonna get your meat out. You're gonna look at it and you're gonna taste it, and that's where you're gonna decide, okay, well, this is what we need to do.
Yeah,
And if you're a good cook, you'll overcome all that stuff. You'll overcome high temps. You'll overcome all that stuff. That's what makes you a good cook.
for sure.
You don't panic in the moment and freak out. And oh man, my drum's running 50 degrees higher. All right, just tone it down a little bit. Or just you'll overcome it. That's what makes good cooks great cooks, when you overcome stuff like that. Or weather. We got rained on really bad this past weekend, right at chicken startup, man. And I was like, man, it was coming in. So I was like, I started my fire so I could at least have my fire going.
Mm-hmm.
And I walked out of the trailer with a tray over my chicken so it wouldn't get watered, so it wouldn't get washed all my seasoning off.
Yeah.
And then I went and put it on while it was pouring down rain.
Yeah.
And we ended up getting the first chicken out of all of that.
Yeah.
It's just the challenge of all kinds of different stuff, So
Adapt
your
and
cook's not
overcome.
gonna go the same. Yeah, your cook's not gonna be the same. Your drums will run. They're gonna run. It depends where you're at. They may run hotter. They may not run as hot. Those are little things that happen during the cook, and that's what makes you a better cook, when you get to do all those things and overcome all those things. That was one of our goals, because like I said, we're new to this. We haven't got a whole lot of experience. We're a year and a half into experience, so we haven't actually experienced a whole lot of adversity in barbecue competition as some of these other guys.
Yep.
They've been doing it 5, 6, 7, 8 years, 10 years. So they've seen a lot of stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Those are the guys that I look up to. Those guys that have been doing it for a long time. I don't consider myself on that level, even though you look at my stats and they may show something like that. But in my mind, I'm not on that level until I have the experience they got.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When I get 5 years, 6 years experience, I know I've overcome. I've seen a lot of stuff and I've overcome a lot of stuff, and I'll have that experience. And then I can kind of say, okay, I'm one of the better ones. But till then, I don't see myself on that level yet, even though my stats say different. But I don't see myself there, because, like I said, I'm not that experienced. So there's things I haven't seen, and these guys have, like elevation. I didn't run into that until Fort Davis this year, and I kind of looked at it, and I did a little research on it and stuff before I went out there, and that way I was kind of ready for it. But I didn't expect the stuff that happened with higher elevation. I was thinking of something more of fire wise, taking a little longer to get up to 10, stuff like that. But no, it's your wrap. Your wrap disappears, man, faster. And those are little things that you don't know unless you get the experience of going out there and cooking in different regions, So right now we're still learning. We're still learning everywhere we go. 90% of the places we cooked, we've never cooked. So we don't know profiles. Some of these guys have been there before. They kind of know, oh, they like this, they like that, a little spice here, whatever. We don't know those kind of things yet. We're still trying to figure those out. We're learning them. We're taking notes everywhere we go. We write everything down. That way for next year, I know, hey, look, we ran this last year. We did this. We placed here. We got comments. Now we need a little more spice or a little more salt. So that way next year I know, hey, we'll add a little more salt or a little more heat or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But notes are the best thing to take when you're cooking, doing this. It's a reminder, like, hey, what did I do to keep you from going away from what you were doing?
For sure.
It keeps you more consistent. You can easily get away from what you're doing easily in this game.
Yeah, we ask ourselves all the time, like, hey, what did we do at that last one? Oh, I don't remember. Yeah. We didn't write it down. And we always try to make it a point to try and write it down, but we get busy and then we we forget.
Yeah,
Yeah,
recently
and
though we've been trying to like after every time we do something like we're writing it down. You know, we're like, hey, how did we finish that brisket? Okay, boom, boom, boom. This is what we did. So
yeah,
then we know. So we in the beginning, I would say we were pretty bad at it. We would be like at a comp and we'd be like, wait, what did we sauce with last time? What did we do? And that's just to me, that's like a really, really super rookie mistake because those are things that like you could easily control. You know what I mean?
oh yeah,
So
yeah. Notes are the best thing 'cause that keeps you consistent.
for sure. Well, let's move on to the last question here, and I kind of wanted to also take the opportunity based off of this question for you to talk about something that you've been working on for a while that's just recently starting to come out a little bit, and that's your rub Hot Nueces. So Bobby Mesa asks, when can we expect to see Hot Nueces hit the shelves? And then, of course, take a little bit of time to tell everybody what is Hot Nueces, what are we talking about, and how did you develop this product?
I don't know if we're gonna put it out on the shelves yet.
Uh huh.
It'll be a little while. So we're doing most of the packing and orders and all that stuff on our own.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so if you want to get some, you can just reach out to me, message me, or whatever.
Yeah.
It's a pecan rub that we came up with. We had we did a little research with a friend of ours, and they're big in the rub game, and they kind of helped us out, kind of steered us the right way and stuff like that. Because we didn't know where to even find a lot of these spices.
Yeah.
So uh, we got with Adam and Michelle
Mm-hmm.
Amp Cookers,
Yep.
and they have a whole line of products. So we went and asked them, hey man, where do we want to develop a rub? Where do we get all this stuff? Where do y'all, where do I find all this kind of different spices?
Yeah.
So they helped us out a lot, and shout out to Amp Cookers, man, because they helped us out trying to find all this stuff to put together.
Get up, Chucky.
And get up, Chucky. Uh,
I
yeah,
think
no,
that's so
man,
funny,
Adam
dude.
are awesome people.
For the longest time, I was
Uh,
like, dude, what does Get Up, Chucky mean? I've seen the movie, but I didn't realize that that's what it was from. And when I got confirmation that that's what it's from, I was laughing so hard. So I'll tell you about it later, what it's from, my wife. But hilarious, dude. Get Up, Chucky is just so funny, dude.
dude, yeah, Adam, man, he's a character, but
Yeah.
but yeah, they helped us. They pointed us in the right direction, man, and we got it all together, and now this is the. I have been looking for a pecan rub for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
and I could never find it. Even the ones that say pecan are half of the time they're not pecan. They don't have a pecan flavor. I don't even know why they're pecan, but
Yeah.
uh, they don't come close to that. So I was trying to find something that I wanted. I had a specific flavor in my mind and what I was looking for, and we finally got it and put it all together, man. And it's actually we've been doing really good lately. We got a few teams running it, and dude, they've been top 3, top 5 pork, pork ribs, even chicken lately.
Yeah.
Uh, we had a couple of teams running on chicken, man, and they got second place chicken. I ran it last weekend on my chicken, and it was first place chicken. So
Yeah.
it's been doing really good since we let it out. Everybody that's using it has been doing really good on it.
Yeah. So what I'll do is I'll put a maybe a link to your Facebook page, your My Pits Are Burning Facebook page. If people want to try it, they can reach out to you there. I'll tell everybody this. So in Victoria, I personally tried it out myself, and I'm not exaggerating. Kevin can tell you this is true 100%. He gave me a bottle of it. I put it on my hand, and I went to taste it, and I instantly like squinched up my face, and I looked at him, and he just started laughing because he instantly knew that I liked it, and I'm being super genuine. I even brought it home and everything, and I told my wife, I was like, "Hey, try this rub. It is delicious, and it has a great flavor to it. That pecan." I was trying to figure out. I was like, "Dude, what is that?" And you just kept laughing, and you eventually told me you're like, "It's a pecan rub, bro," and I was like, but just a super delicious rub, man, and I can't wait for you to get it out there for people to try because I really do think that this can elevate people's barbecue game to the next level. I mean, it's already doing it for you. It's doing it for other cooks. And, man, these people, once it hits the shelves, bro, I mean, I think you're going to see that stuff flying off because, I mean, look at your record. Look at how delicious it
I
tastes.
mean, it is a little different, man. Like I said, it's nothing like the other pecan rubs that are out there. It's we were looking for an actual pecan flavor, and we could never find it. And
Yep.
so we made this, and this is what we wanted, you know.
Yeah. Well,
So
you nailed it, bro.
it's
I'll tell you
different.
what.
It's different. It's different, and that's what we were looking for. Different. You know, we wanted to be different. We know there's a lot of guys running all kinds of different stuff out there, and a lot of guys are running the same stuff out there. We wanted to be different, man,
Yeah.
and that's what I think. That's what part of our success was, is being different, and especially like this flavor, dude. Dude, I use it on everything at
It's
home.
unique. It's unique, bro. It's very
Yeah,
unique. It's very
yeah.
delicious. I mean, shout out again. You nailed it on that rub. I think it's gonna do really well for you. I mean, when it hits the shelves, people are gonna want to buy it, dude. It's just a great rub, dude.
Yeah, it's kind of all around, man. I mean, it's got a sweet, it's got heat, it's
Mm-hmm.
got saltiness. You know, it's really good. I
Yep.
mean, I'm not just saying because it's my rub, but you know,
Well,
like this was something I would go and buy from the store. You know, and I've had customers tell me, dude, I've been trying to find a rub like this for a long time,
yeah.
Mm.
No, I
and
mean,
I was like, dude, I was too.
you know, the thing is, I mean, my wife and I develop our own rubs, and I'll tell you flat out, I mean, it's a delicious rub. I'm not, I sell them too. I'm not gonna sit here and say anything about that rub because it just truly tastes that good. I know how
No,
I
I mean
know
it's good.
Yeah, I know how hard it is to develop a rub. You know, we developed all of ours, and man, I mean, for your first one, just knocked it out of the park, man. Like I said, and I mean that from the sincerest part of my heart. Like it is
Yeah,
really.
we've tried a lot of seasonings.
Yeah, we've tried a lot of seasonings, dude, and yours is
Very
up
good.
there with some of the best that we've ever
Man,
tried.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate it, man. And we like I said, we try to be a little different with it, and dude, I think it works well with hospitality. I like it
Yeah,
together. That's
yeah,
what I ran this past weekend.
yeah. There you
Uh,
go.
uh, yeah,
We
I
sent
ran a little bit of hospitality.
we sent you some today, right? We
Yep.
sent you some today.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. So,
awesome, dude. I love it, dude. It's y'all got some really good stuff. Also, I love the color
yeah,
the that it puts out. Man, it's really good stuff.
I appreciate it,
That
brother.
base, good stuff too, man.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, man. I really do. But hey, dude, I mean, we want to thank you for being on the podcast. We really appreciate the time that you gave us, man. I just love your story. I love, had no idea you were gonna get here. Just kept cooking, wanted to do it, loved it, and man, look at you now, bro. I mean, to me, I also have to say this, man. You've helped me out a lot. I've called you and we've had conversations like, dude, my chicken sucks, bro. Help me out, and you've been open and you've been honest. And man, it's just the barbecue camaraderie, the community is incredible. And you're a great example of what that is and what that means for people out there. And if other people get into the competition scene, I'm sure they're going to be able to meet you and think the same exact thing we do. So, man, thank you again for being on the podcast. Do you have any shout outs or anything you wanted to say before we end it today?
Oh yeah, man. Texas original, bro.
Yep.
Best charcoal in the game.
Yeah.
You know, Chopping Block Victoria.
Yep.
If you don't know where to get your meat, that's the place to get it from.
Okay.
Uh, and Hot and West is, if you need some, let me know.
Yep. Is that cool? Is that the best way for me to do it? To put my Pizza Burnin Facebook page out there, or
Yeah, they can message me through my Facebook page and
your Kevin Hernandez one?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll
My
put your
Kevin
personal.
Hernandez.
I'll put your link for your personal one down there too, so people can know where to reach you. But yeah, I mean, yeah, shout out to those guys as well for supporting you.
I got shout out to Amp Cookers and Quattro Greet Drums, man.
There you go. Bobby, man, he's a good dude. He texted me
Dude,
after we got the GC, and he's like, "Hey, man, I'm so happy for you, bro." And that means a lot to us because you don't really know if, not necessarily if people care or not, but it's really cool to know that he took time out of his day to thank us not thank us, but to congratulate us for our first GC. So yeah, shout out to
Hey,
Quattro D, man.
I went in. I had to go watch the video. Dustin Stanley recorded the whole video, so I had to watch the awards to see.
Yeah,
Uh, I had to see the big win because, dude, it's exciting, bro. It's exciting when you win your first one.
yeah, yeah,
We weren't able to be there, but we got to see it on the video. So
yeah,
at least we got to see that. But
yeah. And you
but
called me
I'm
after
sure,
too, so shout out.
yeah, I'm sure we'll be there when I'm sure you're gonna beat me one day, man. One day you'll get there. We'll be at a same cook-off. You're gonna whoop my butt, man.
Yeah, you've
So
so far you've gotten my number every single time. I don't even think I've outplaced you in any meet. But it's all
oh,
good,
you
man.
will, you will.
It's all
It'll
good.
eventually happen, man.
Well, man, thanks again, Kevin. We appreciate you coming on, brother, and you have a good rest of your night. Hopefully, we'll see you again soon at another competition, man.
You too, brother, man. Thanks for having me.
All right, brother.
Awesome time.
All right, brother. Thanks, man.
We'll see you out there.
All right. Yes, sir.
Well, thanks to Kevin for joining the podcast. Kevin from My Pits Are Burnin'. Thought that was a great interview. Gave some
Great.
good information and just a really cool perspective. I didn't realize that he hadn't been competing for that long. I mean, a year and a half, I believe, is like what he said.
That's all he said. And I said it in the interview, but I'll say it again. I appreciate the honesty because, man, it is not easy to do this. We spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars every weekend to hopefully make some back, to hopefully bring good content to the channel, to hopefully get our name out there. So hopefully some of you guys try our seasonings. So I can promise you one thing, we're giving it everything we got. We're grateful we got this GC this past weekend. Hopefully it's not I was going to say hopefully it's not the first. Hopefully it's not the last. And thanks, guys, for just being on this ride with us, man. I mean, I say it a lot. The community that we have is small, but it's powerful. And I'm just grateful that you guys are here. So, we're going to go ahead and talk about a few things that some people were asking us in the comments for our podcast. And we'll start with Raul from Villanueva Media. He asked us, how do you guys bounce back after no calls or not the results you wanted? Which is a great question. That's a great start to the question. This is like a 3-part question, I believe. And do you guys ever venture out of your own barbecue rubs when in comps, etc.? So I think we can both answer that question. I'll start it off by saying, how do you guys bounce back? I think that for me personally, just realizing that, hey, it's part of the journey. It's part of what we're doing, and it's completely okay for us not to win because no one wins every single time. You and I have talked about this a lot of times, and we'll keep talking about it because we're passionate about it. This is not about barbecue. Barbecue is what we're doing to try and reach our goals, and we love it, but this is not just about barbecue. This is about a lot more than that. So big picture always for me, and understanding that, hey, let's just go out there and cook with every bit of passion that we have, whether it's intense passion or a mellow passion, whatever we got, we give it, and I think we're going to be in a great spot. As far as venturing outside of our seasonings for competition, never. We will not do it. I'll just never do it. Now, there have been times that I have suggested trying something because I do want to win, and Sabrina's just like flat out no. It's not that I'm willing to not use any of our rubs, but I've thought about stacking something on top of ours, and Sabrina's like, no, we're not doing it. So she's definitely put the halt on that, and I'm glad she has because we 100% only used our rubs and some black pepper for our GC. I mean, 100% Gulf Coast smoke only.
Yeah. And I think for me, to bounce back from a loss and even a win is the same attitude for me. I think you just keep going back out there. I think if you quit, I mean, you're not going to get anywhere. So if you're not getting the results you want, you're not getting any calls, or maybe you only get a few calls, the only way to bounce back from that is just to keep going back out there. But that's the same for winning. I mean, we got our GC, but it's not like, oh, well, we're done competing. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Door closes, story ends. Like, no, we keep going out there and competing. I mean, it just makes you want to try to win again.
Mm-hmm.
You know, whether you're winning or you're losing, you still want to go out there and compete. The passion's still there. You still want to do it. And I don't think that's ever going to get old.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I mean, I think to just kind of circle back and talk about our seasonings and talk about, do we ever venture? I mean, we would never put out a product that we don't 100% believe in.
Right.
Right? And that's just truly with every part of me. I will not do it. Why have we not come out with a sauce? Because we haven't been able to do it exactly the way we want to. And it's, to us, it's not necessarily about always what we think is going to be the top seller out there. It's about, can we put out a product that we're proud of? And if we can, then that's the biggest win for us. Well, I mean, we have a product. You know, it's an incredible thing to have. And, you know, I believe in our products, and I want to believe in every single one of our products moving forward.
Yeah. And, you know, that's not to say we don't like to use other people's seasonings on a daily, like if we're having dinner and we want to throw something on there, there's so many good seasonings out there.
Yeah.
But when it comes to competition, we're out there not only because we enjoy it, but because we're trying to prove to people that, you know, our seasonings, that's one of the things we said when we were making that. All of our seasonings is we made it for the competition quality for the backyard cook.
Yep.
So whether you're a backyard cook or you're a competition cook, we're trying to show people that our seasonings are good for any situation, you know, and the main way we prove that in the competition scene is by winning.
Absolutely. And, you know, it's just one of those things that it's a great feeling knowing that people do love it in the backyard, and it's proven that people are winning on the scene with it. So this
not
past
just us.
Yeah, and not just us. This past weekend was a huge weekend for us. A huge weekend. Thankfully, thank God, grateful, we were able to get our first GC ever. Extremely excited about that. On top of that, Rini Gonzalez Family Barbecue, and his wife Marissa, they got an RGC in Los Fresnos. Congrats. Leonard Love with Love is the Answer got an RGC in Round Rock. Congrats. Meat Locker Misfits got an 8th overall with a 2nd place brisket in El Campo. Congrats to Zach. The Chopping Block had 2 teams in El Campo. They got 3rd overall and 6th overall. They used our seasonings. Congrats to John in the Chopping Block. Always Forward Barbecue got 7th place ribs in Brenham. Congrats to Brandon. That's a great call. Smokin' Lowe's Barbecue got a 2nd place pork in Springtown using our seasonings. He also RGC'd that comp. Congrats to Los. Just incredible, incredible stuff. We also want to give a shout out to Randy Kendrick for yet another GC. Dude is strong right now.
Yeah.
Jamie Roby, RGC'd that same exact event. You know, it was a great weekend for us. And again, there's other people that I know for a fact are running our seasonings in some capacity that did good out there on the scene. I don't always put that out there because some competition guys, they like their secrets. I respect it. I know they did well with our seasoning. That means a lot to me. So a great weekend for us. You know, kind of like I've told you before, it was a great weekend. It's not always going to be like that. It's not always going to be like that for us or the comp scenes out there. It's comp teams out there, I'm sorry. And we just take the good and we enjoy it as much as we can, but we still got work to do.
Yep. And so after our GC, it just makes us want to get back out there and compete. So that's what we're trying to figure out right now is where to compete, where to go.
It's tough, man, because there's a competition here in Aransas Pass, which is about 10 minutes from our house. And then there's one in Leander that's about 3.5 hours away from our house. We want to go to Leander. We want to go to Aransas because for different reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Leander's going to have pretty much most of the best teams in CBA there. Aransas Pass is something local, and we want to support local. We don't want to forget about the people around us in our community. But, man, it's like, what's the best thing to do? We don't know the answer to it. We'll figure it out this week somehow, some way, and whatever decision we make, we will feel confident with it, and we'll do the right thing. So we're just going to go grab meats for the weekend, and we'll see where it takes us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a crazy way to live, right? But, I mean, it's just the truth, and that's the way we're gonna handle it because I don't know where to go right now.
Yeah, me either.
Yeah.
I have what I want, but then what I think would be the better option, I don't know. But we just want to get back out there and chase that high from winning.
Yeah.
And try and replicate it again.
Yeah, but we also understand that it's going to be very hard, and if it doesn't happen, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
So the last thing we wanted to talk about was just remind you guys that we just put out a competition brisket video. Competition brisket has probably been our most consistent protein all year.
Yeah, and a trim video.
I'm sorry. This is a trim video. Yes, this is a full competition trim video. For all intents and purposes, I'll tell you guys right now, it's an aggressive trim, but it is
not a backyard trim.
It is not a backyard trim, but it has been giving us consistent results recently with brisket. So we got a second place in Needville. We got a 10th place in Waller. We got a 4th place in Victoria. We got a 9th place in El Campo. We got 9th place brisket in Kingsville, 6th place brisket at Watermelon Festival. It's just been consistent for us. Really, really consistent. So take what you will from the aggressive trim and just look at the results. We are not the best brisket cooks out there, but we do believe that a good trim makes a huge difference. And I think you guys should really watch the video and see what you think. It hopefully can give you guys some tips and tricks on how you can make your brisket a little bit more consistent, look really good in the box, and from there, you guys are good to go. You got to start off with good quality meat, and then you got to be able to prepare your meat to a very high level. That's something we just talked about with Kevin in the interview, so make sure you watch that fully. Thanks for continuing to watch. We really appreciate you guys. Actually, you're listening to this.
Yeah. Watching or listening.
You might be watching. But thank you guys for tuning in. We really appreciate you guys. And we'll catch you for episode 7. Oh, comments down below. Who else do you want to see on the podcast?
Yeah, and don't forget to leave us your questions. And
questions.
We can answer them at the end of the podcast.
Absolutely. So thank you guys. We'll see you on the next one.
Bye-bye.